You can find tons of advice and suggestions from public speaking coaches online about speaking in English and improving your speaking. And most of that information is really good information to have. But if you were to boil everything down to one key factor, what would it be?
Let's talk about it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Why Grow Friends English. The key to speaking English well, even as a non-native speaker, getting all those points boiled down to one, is this one word: confidence. A lot of times we make mistakes and we kind of try to focus on those mistakes, but the confidence that we're going to talk about today is a cool confidence. It's not false confidence. It's not look at me. It's not check out how many hours I've been studying English.
Or being loud and proud.
No, it's being able to say what you mean to say, know the impact that you have when you say it, and present it well. And you know that you are presenting it well in a way that you know your listeners will understand. So in this video, we're going to talk about what cool confidence looks like, what it doesn't look like, and whether or not there's a point in correcting your mistakes at all.
The cool confidence we're talking about for non-native English speakers, it has several characteristics. It means no anxiety about getting it right. Okay, you're not sitting there thinking, oh, what's the right word? I need to say the right word. It means when you speak, you have a point to either answer the question or to move the conversation forward. It means having clear speech, articulating your sounds well, at least well enough to be understood. It means having well-paced speech that's faster when it needs to be, slower than when it needs to be, but never all the same. It also means that with your pitch, you need to be varying your pitch. You need to have the right tone of voice that is appropriate to what you're trying to say in that particular context. It means having strategic vocabulary choices. You are choosing the words that have the most impact for what you need it to mean at that moment. It also means gliding over your mistakes. Not making no mistakes, but gliding over your mistakes, as in not drawing attention to them, not stumbling over them or fixating on them and getting all nervous and working yourself up over them. It just means just glide over it and move on. It also means making adequate eye contact to the degree that you need to, and other positive body language, using your hand gestures and using them well enough to accentuate your meaning, but not to really distract from what you really mean. Likewise, using your facial expressions the same way. And your posture also really matters with confidence.
Cool confidence in English ensures that you make yourself comprehensible, that you don't allow yourself to become incomprehensible just because of your nervousness and your nervous energy. It means you make your point, you explain it, you ask questions, and you move the conversation along into the next topic or into deeper topics. It means that the conversation just doesn't end with you and everybody enters that awkward silence.
Unless it needs to end.
Unless it needs to.
And you just have the confidence to end it.
This means that you don't sabotage yourself, you don't get stuck on your mistakes, and not fretting about which word you're going to use.
Notice what we did not say for the characteristics of cool confidence. We did not say making no mistakes. We did not say using a wide variety of vocabulary choices. We did not say have an American accent. We did not say have a steady rhythmic pace for speaking, where you just use the same pace on and it's clear and it makes sense and you're just going on in the same pace. We didn't say perfect body language, where it just jives with everybody. Everybody understands. We also did not say agreement with whatever was just said. Confident English is not perfect English. It's actually far from it. In fact, if you transcribe and analyze native speakers speaking off stage, because on stage is polished English, it's very polished, sometimes memorized. But if you get them off stage and you transcribe and take a look at what native English speakers are saying to one another, it is riddled with mistakes, especially grammar mistakes. Yet they make their point known by using all of the language, by using paralanguage, by using their face and their tone of voice and their verbal instruments. They're able to use all of these things and the context to make themselves clear. So does that mean you need to have perfect English?
No.
It just means you need to be confident.
I think of this in terms of a lot of non-native speakers that I find very engaging. They are very impactful. They are very meaningful. And I, even as a native English speaker, can pick up on some of the mistakes that they make. But is the impact still communicated? Is the impact still transferred to me? Absolutely. So it's not about making no mistakes. Yes, correcting some mistakes would probably be a good idea, but it's about asking your question, are you communicating well? Really, are you communicating well? If the answer to that is yes, let's keep pushing in that direction. If the answer to that is no, then yeah, there needs to be some correction here. But the correction is not necessarily in being able to use the most complicated, complex sentence grammar pattern you can ever imagine. It comes down to, are you having an impact on your listeners with or without mistakes?
So is there a point in correcting my non-native English speaker mistakes? Yes, there is a point to it, because the mistakes that you make may not be the mistakes that we're used to hearing. Let me back up a little bit. When a native speaker makes a mistake, odds are it's a really common grammar mistake, or it's a really common poor word choice. And we're used to it. We have an ear for it, if you will. We're used to it. We know what you mean. So for example, here in the South, the American South, people don't use the past participle very well. For example, especially this guy, especially with the past participle, run. For example, they might say, I have ran to the store twice already this week, and I need to go again. When they really should be saying, I have run to the store already 2 times this week, and I need to go again. This have run, they will say have ran instead of have run. It is not correct, but so many people do it here that nobody picks up on it. In fact, they probably feed each other. This is a mistake that he had for the longest time. So we understand that. Now, take a mistake that we're not used to, like somebody not finishing the D in the past tense. Okay, so I walked to the store. If they just say I walked to the store, well, it's like, okay, you're saying like a general thing, like you generally walk to the store? Or did you walked? No, I walked yesterday to the store. Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't really hear your final D or almost D sound. Another example is finishing the NG in strong. For example, he's very strong. He's very strong. We might not pick up on that. That's strange. We don't cut that part off normally. When we make our mistakes, that's not typically the mistake that we make. We say very strong, very strong.
I think about this in terms of Mandarin when we were learning it. I would get my hand slapped if I said a word that sounded similar to another word that could potentially fit in that context. However, if I said another word that was completely off the wall, maybe there was not even another similar sounding word to this, nobody would bat an eye. They'd be like, oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine. He mispronounced it a little bit. But if I said that common word that has a common synonym to it, then people would turn to me and they say, no, you didn't say it right. In the same vein, as a non-native speaker, if you make a weird mistake, people catch it. People pick up on it. Mm-hmm. But if you make a common mistake, mistakes that we make, that I make, then most native speakers, they're not going to bat an eye at it. They're going to say, oh yeah, that's totally fine, moving on. So it's those weird mistakes that you really need to watch out for. You need to find, and honestly, those are some of the really tricky ones because you end up making it, people end up being confused, and not a whole lot of feedback happens other than, what was that?
Sometimes not even that. A lot of people get to fluency without realizing that they make some mistakes that hinders something. And they don't know till they get feedback from leading a training in a business, for example. And they'll start getting all these questions and these emails after the training about what did you mean about this, or what is this, or who was that, which team were you referring to, or something like this that they had no idea was not understood by everybody around them. Maybe they went 20 years in this company without knowing that that was causing a problem with communication, but because there's no feedback, because this is a very, generally speaking, nice culture, we don't want to offend anybody too much, they might not have gotten that feedback this whole time until they led a company-wide training and then got that feedback afterward. That is a real experience from somebody we've worked with before. So definitely getting some feedback on those common mistakes that you make, identifying which of those is hindering some meaning or causing some misunderstanding with people around you, with native speakers around you, and correcting those. I would absolutely not correct every mistake. I would not walk around sounding like a textbook because that's weird. That would also cause some confusion. You don't want to do that. You also don't want to sound like Siri. You don't want to pronounce things perfectly all the time and sound like a robot. And definitely vary your language. Let it be human. Language is human. It's very human. It's full of mistakes, and that gives it a lot of color and meaning. But weird mistakes can muddle the meaning that you were trying to express. And if that's the case for you, you need to identify those and try to fix them.
And which is great because we actually recently did a video talking about how can you find and fix your own mistakes. So if that's you, if you want to kind of DIY your English and be more fluent and confident, then watch the video right up here where we give you a free guide to rate yourself as you try to push forward towards fluency and confidence in English.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.